This is Old Hillside.
Old Hillside. This is one of their first releases. A little bit about Old Hillside and just our origin story. My sister actually worked with one of the owners, wife, and she knew that we were creating Dorado Rock, and she said, well, we have some friends that are creating a bourbon company. Why don't you two connect? And this was, again, one of the first bourbons that we had in our portfolio. Amazing story. For those in the Durham area, there was a school called Old Hillside, or it was called Hillside High School. It got demolished and they recreated it, and now they call it the New Hillside.
Yeah.
So those that are alums of Old Hillside refer to it as old, where current alums are now new.
Man, it's got a really creamy, little bit of oak in there, a lot of vanilla, nice little nose on there.
Yep. Now at where do we end up on this one? 97 proof. It retains a lot of those flavors. It's not watered down.
Yeah.
This is sourced whiskey. It's not produced here in North Carolina, but it's sourced out of Kentucky.
Okay.
And we think that they're doing a really good job picking barrels.
For sure. So they source, and so they just, it's just a barrel that they pick.
Yeah.
They don't age it here in North Carolina.
No,
okay.
This is all sourced out of Kentucky.
Got it. I saw that 43 months, and I was like, hold on, are we aging it down? But okay, got it. I like that.
Yeah.
Non-chill filter. Sweet. I might have to check them out.
Yeah.
Someone's told me to check them, give them a look, give them a nod. I give North Carolina whiskey a hard time because it's churning back up. I feel like we're really getting to, because if you drink whiskey regularly and you look at like all the whiskey that's out there, and then you compare it to a 2-year-old whiskey or a 3-year-old whiskey, yep. it's got a hard road to deal with. And then, and which you can shed some light on too, you look at the price point of what's here. It's not a 2-year price point. It's up there. Yeah.
Look, there's an aspect of mass production versus craft.
Right.
And we don't talk about the price of Bud Light or Miller Lite or Coors Light versus our local brewery around the corner. There are some additional costs that go into running a smaller operation. Yeah. You can't buy in bulk. You're buying. Usually when I think about other companies that we've seen go from a startup to getting bought out by Lux Row, it's the first iterations were 30 cases.
Yeah.
And they took that and they went and bought 60, and then they did 120, and it allowed them to grow. And a lot of the North Carolina brands, I would agree with you a couple years ago that we were not producing great whiskeys.
Yeah.
I think we've started to turn that corner.
We have.
And look, I represent some North Carolina distilleries, but I'm probably going to say a few of them. Aristotle is making some really good things. Southern Star is doing phenomenal.
Southern Distilling, which Southern Star is the label.
Yep. They're doing phenomenal things. They do a lot of contract distilling for other people. You think about what Mystic is doing out of Durham. They're in the press recently because they're actually sending whiskey to space. They're going to put a barrel on a spaceship. So that's been, I think it's going to be like $75,000 a bottle, though.
Cosmic age.
Yeah.
I think I did just see that.
Yep.
It's a brown bottle. It's a weird looking bottle.
Yeah. And then, Weldon Mills, they make phenomenal whiskeys. But there's other ones. Bug Sound's making good things.
Oh, yeah.
We're starting, old Nick Williams is doing really, making great stuff here in our backyard. We are starting to see the tables turn. It's just taking a while.
It's time. This is the one thing, I don't care what anybody says. I have struggled to find a whiskey manufacturer that could beat time. Yep. There's some tricks and things that can be done and processes that you can do, but time is just hard to beat.
Hey, sports and whiskey, it's the same problem.
Yeah. So I like that one.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
That's another good pour. If you were to say, man, let's say this call went out to like all the brands out there, and not specifically a distiller, but a type of spirit. What's a type of spirit that you would like to bring into North Carolina? Maybe it's already here because we got a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
but maybe like, oh, I'd love to bring in a really good XYZ.
It's always tequila.
It's always tequila, okay?
As a state, I think we only have somewhere between 6 and 10 types of tequila brands in North Carolina worth drinking.
Okay.
That's my honest opinion. There's only a handful of brands in North Carolina that are confirmed additive free, that we know that they're not adding vanilla and sugar and glycerin and other things to their spirit. We only have a very small handful of them.
Yeah, there's not many of them there because there's like a lot of those. Well, honestly, there's not a massive list of additive free tequilas that are out there anyway.
It's only like 50, 60.
Yeah. So if you dwindle that down to what's being produced on a massive enough scale to be available everywhere, there's not a lot of them.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're all craft distilleries.
Yeah.
They can't produce what the big boy can produce. But I really firmly believe, the data has already shown to us that tequila is the number one spirit.
Okay.
It has outsold vodka, which has been the historical number one spirit. Tequila has been on this rise for quite some time. It's now happened. We're seeing a lot of distilleries in the U.S. starting to produce agave spirits because they legally can't call it a tequila. So we're seeing everyone trying to get a piece of that tequila pie. For me, in my view, as much as we don't want someone stealing bourbon from us, we shouldn't be trying to steal some other country's national spirit.
Agreed. Yeah.
But beyond that, we represent, as I said, about 400 SKUs. I have product on every continent except Australia.
Sweet.
So I represent Emerald. They make Indian single malts. I got M&H. They were the first distillery in Israel. Penderyn is an all-female distillery in Welsh. We got Scotch, we got tequila, and we have mezcal. But to me, I'm always looking for what is an interesting story, what is an interesting spirit. We just brought on a Mesta. It's a Greek spirit, kind of like a gin, but it's very unique. It's not something in North Carolina. When we look at our portfolio and we're talking about adding a new brand, we want to make sure it complements and doesn't compete. If I sell two bourbons, they're going to compete with each other. There's not always the same market for them. So we just want to make sure we're mindful when we're adding product to our portfolio, what we represent, there's a meaning behind why we did it.